you for that warm invite. Yes, I am a survivor of being wrongfully convicted for over 23 and a half years. I got arrested at age 16 and didn't see the free world again until age 40. I walked out of prison July 1st of 2020. And it was hard. It was a new beginning, a new beginning that I didn't want, of course, but I had to deal with it. And the Lord, now I am a Christian, and I'm not afraid to say that. The Lord brought me through that. When I came to prison, I had to fight grown men. They tried to sexually assault me. They tried to take my things. I remember one guy took a cookie off my tray and ate it in my face, and then basically dared me to do something about it. And everybody was looking around. And then I remember the conversation that someone had with me. It's like, hey, if you let somebody take your stuff or do things to you in here, this is not the free world. You'll become a victim every time. And I had to muster up this strength and overcome the fear, step outside my comfort zone, as those ladies just eloquently just said, and confront him about it. I got in trouble, of course, but it set me on a trajectory to have a safer stay while I was there. How I got there is just crazy. Like, there were literally police officers that lied on the witness stand. There were witnesses that were coached. Evidence was withheld. And it took years to be able to find it. I spent so many days just starting over, hoping for something to change, just grinding it out. So much so that I started to learn law. I went to the library every day. And the first day I was there, I'll never forget it. This guy, he said, hey, I hear your story. It's important. But the key to your freedom is in those books. You need to get over there and learn what's happening. Nobody else is going to help you. You're in here by yourself, kid. And so he plopped this book down in front of me, and it said Brady versus Maryland. It's about prosecutor misconduct, withholding evidence. And I'm sitting there looking at it. I didn't know what it meant at the time. I didn't know how to pronounce the name. Brady, I could barely read and write. And I was sitting there trying to figure out, and I felt so defeated in the moment. Here I am in prison. No education, barely could read and write. I'm by myself. My family was not there for me because I was in prison. And I remember sitting there reading, and all of a sudden, I'm starting to nod out. You know how you feel when you're in college? Anybody been to college? And they give you that 6-inch book, and you're like, okay, you have a paper to write, Bueller, all that mess. So I'm sitting here reading this thing, and I nod out. I wake up, I got drool everywhere, all on my face, all on my shirt, my book. I close it, but then I sit there, I'm just sitting in defeat. For a minute, just sit there and think. If you're in the military, you're behind enemy lines, or just a regular person, and you have no support, you don't know what's going on. Like you feel like you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. And I just sit there. And then I know it was the Lord. He just breathed a little bit into me. And he gave me a lesson to remember. Come up with a plan of action. So I went up to the counter, and I started to get dictionaries. I knew dictionaries could help me understand words. I remember that. So I got the thesaurus, the regular dictionary, and then they got this dictionary called the Black's Law Dictionary. And so the library was kind of wide. I'm over here, I'm like, okay, let me get that book and that book. I said, okay, let me get the Black's Law Dictionary. Okay, is that just for black people? And it's like, no, sir, this is a book of knowledge. It's not about color. I'm like, okay, well, let me get it anyway. Let me get that. So I'm like, this is crazy. They got a book called Black's Law Dictionary. So I'm sitting here reading it, and I take it, and I open up all of them. Every time I run across a word that I don't understand, I open my dictionary or my thesaurus or my Black Law Dictionary. And in 6 months, I started to understand the law. I could literally understand it. And I knew an idea of what happened to me. That was empowering. They put wind in my sails. Because, here it is, like lawyers, they go to school for 4 years, 8 years, whatever, to try to learn this. And I'm here, I'm hitting the library, I'm learning this in prison. Now keep in mind, let me give you a little context. I was a hyperactive kid. Anybody got any hyperactive kids in their family that just like to rip and run? They got a lot of energy. I was him. My teachers was telling me, go sit down, go relax. I'm like, okay, I want to go out and play. I don't want to do this. Kids, they want rewards. I was in that phase of my life, so I got labeled borderline mentally retarded. Yeah, they labeled me that. Lesson number 2, don't let anyone define you. You define yourself. Because people will call you failure. They will call you lazy. They will consider you an ornament, as those ladies just said. That's not who you want to be. Like, you have the opportunity each day you wake up to decide, okay, this is who I'm going to be. This is who I am. And so they called me a convict, a prisoner. They held, in class, they teach correctional officers. They hold up a picture of a snake, and then they hold up inmates. Basically, don't trust them. And then when it comes to staff and people in society, they had all these good, positive images. And so they labeled me that. And every day, I had to deal with being degraded and talked about and not trusted and lied and interrogated and questioned and verbally abused. Went to solitary confinement because I was making progress on my case. They snatched me up, took my job. They didn't want me to pay for my own defense. And I was trying everything I could. Like, it was extremely, extremely difficult. But I persevered, and I said, you know what? I'm not a convict. I'm not an offender. I'm not any of those things that you say. I even actually told the warden that one day, because there was ice that we didn't have. We didn't have ice in prison. But the law said that we were supposed to. And because nobody challenged it, they were getting away with it. So I was able to challenge it. And I filed a complaint and went all the way up to the warden's office. And that's like the highest office in prison. And I complained like this basic thing. You say you value workers, you value life, but you have no air conditioning in this prison, and you can't do it. But you won't even give us a basic thing like ice. You have these workers that work in the factory 12 hours a day. I did it. I worked for 12 hours a day for 25 cents an hour. I did that in a furniture factory. They got sawdust everywhere. Believe me, it didn't meet the OSHA requirements of 70-something degrees. And I said, you won't even do that? Or do we have no value? Like, well, you offenders, you've lost your rights. I said, I hear you, but may I speak frankly with you and respectfully? I said, yeah. They said, yeah, respectfully. I said, with all due respect, I want you to know that, like, I am a person. Yeah, I may have been convicted of a crime, but whether I did it or not, it doesn't matter to you, and it doesn't matter in this situation. But we are people in here. What happens when society out there finds out that you're not giving us ice and you're putting us in conditions where it's extremely hot? We can't even have a cup of ice water when we get off work. But you say you value workers and you value life and you're all about really rehabilitating offenders. I said, what does that show? What does that show about you? And they looked at me, and they were upset that I said it, but they respected it. I dared to step out my comfort zone, scared to death, because they could have put me under the hole. And they've done it. They did it before. And I experienced it. In my mind, I said, do your worst. What you going to do, lock me up? Put me in solitary confinement? So that was one of the ways I was able to make another mile marker. I was able to define myself in the face of people that had a great authority over me. I stepped outside my comfort zone. That was a new beginning. And it invested something in my heart. It gave me the courage to speak up and speak out for other people. It gave me the ability to work on men that came into the prison. Now, I was able to grab a lot of young men that were coming into the prison and teach them things. One of the key things that you see out here right now, there's a skinny jean generation. You got all these young men that like to wear these super tight pants, so tight you can see their heartbeat. Like, what's going on? And so in prison, you get state grades. You don't get jeans. You don't get designer this. Man, I saw drove after drove of young men getting off of the transport bus to come into the prison. Pants so tight they can't even walk. And so I brought them I pulled a couple of them under my wing. I said, hey, how you doing? My name's Jonathan Irons. I'm a prisoner here. You know, I got some advice for you if you want to hear it. And I said, yeah. I said, well, some of the things that you learned on the street, you can't do it here. For example, you see all those guys over there looking at y'all? I said, they're sexually deprived, and you have these tight pants on, and they will rape you. Like, you think about yourself, man. Like, you got some things wrong. Like, you need to evaluate some things. And from those men, I was able to reach a lot of different other men. And I continued to do that. And it was a blessing. Just being able to be used by God in that way with young men that were coming into prison. While I was there, I also got the ability to just get really, really good at law. So much so that I was helping other prisoners get their cases overturned, getting errors corrected on their sentence, and even working with attorneys. They were shocked that I was able to do stuff like that. I got so good that I was able to write the first draft to the habeas petition, which led to my freedom. It is why I am here right now. The Lord empowered me to understand the law in a way that's intimate and profound. And because of that, I have also been blessed with an opportunity to work with a judge in Cobb County. I work for Jason Marbut. I'm his bailiff, and I get to talk with him and work with him on cases and talk through things. How redeeming is that for the Lord to take? How redeeming is that for the Lord to take something so gruesome to me? The criminal justice system locked me up, took me away from my family and everything I loved, and then released me with the criminal justice system. And now the criminal justice system has hired me for my advice. Okay, we got some things wrong. What can we do different? Tell me, that is a true blessing, and I'm so thankful to be able to do that. And I get to share and be vulnerable about my story and my pain. My wife and I are coming out with a book soon. I can't tell you when it's coming out. She might get on me. She tells me things. Her name is Maya Moore. Now, Maya Moore Irons. I love you, baby. I know you're watching. She couldn't be here. Yes. And so now we're in a position where we're partnered together, and we're beginning a journey of telling our story to the world. But there's nothing like changing the world when you're able to, or change people's lives around you, like when you're able to tell your story and to be vulnerable. Like when you're vulnerable with people, it helps you really get at their heart and help them understand it. You can see facts all day long. People don't want to see facts. People want to see what matters. And in the criminal justice system, when you get to show people how what these laws have done and how they've impacted lives, and these are real people that matter, it makes a difference. So we're going to be able to tell the stories of other people that are wrongfully convicted in the criminal justice system, of stories of men that are wrong, and also celebrate prosecutors and police officers and judges that are getting it right. Rather than focusing on the negative, we get to focus on the positive. Because it's hard. This is a new thing. This is a new beginning. Everybody knows beginnings are hard. But if you persevere, you push in, you press in, you work together, you can make progress little by little. The key is not to give in to being defeated. I lost 11 appeals in 23 years. Each time I just had the hope. Like, man, I'm going home. This is a new beginning. Like, I'm ready. And each one, my hope was dashed. But I kept going. I pressed in. I leaned into faith, and I just kept grinding. Kyle Korver said it earlier, man. People have forgotten, like the younger generation, the importance of grinding it out and pushing and persevering and working it through. To give you an example of sometimes what it takes to grind, I spent 20 hours a day for like 6 months writing and researching and writing my draft to my habeas petition. And prior to that, I probably read enough paperwork to fill from the top of these steps to the top of the room, that whole section. Just case law, articles, books relating to law, my case file, over and over again. News, you name it, I read it in the effort of learning. And I also use prison. This is another thing that you guys can do. This is another lesson. When you're going through adversity, you can use that for your preparation ground. You can use it to prepare you for future activity, for future success. The things that happen wrong, you can learn from them, and they can become an asset. And not only an asset for you, but for other people. You can use it to teach other people to help them get them through. Yes. So in prison, I looked at it as my preparation ground. I didn't say, if I get out, I leaned in faith. I said, Lord, even if you don't let me go out, go home, and you don't exonerate me, I still love you, I'll still serve you. But I like to say, when I get out. When I get out, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I said, when I get out, I'm going to marry Maya. I did. Yeah. I said I was going to get my driver's license. I did in 30 days. She helped me get that. I said I was going to be able to start training dogs. One of the things I was able to do in prison is accumulate 15,000 hours, over 15,000 hours to be able to train dogs. They had this program called Puppies for Parole, and I was really immersed into it, became a leader in that. And now I'm opening a dog business called Dogs We Trust. And I'm going to be training people's dogs. It's such a beautiful thing. Like, I know everybody doesn't like dogs. I understand. I'm not going to condemn you, but I think you're missing out. I'm telling you right now. Yes. But I get to train dogs and make them a part of people's families in a way that they love and they cherish. I was able to do that many, many times. I trained many dogs in there. I trained service dogs. I rehabilitated dogs. I trained dogs and prepped them for police work. I loved it. And so now I get to do that as a part of this community. And I get to tell my story and the pain of everything that I went through. It's hard. Some days I wake up and I feel a hole in my heart for what was taken from me. But then I remember that it's important to count your blessings. Name them one by one. Like when you're going through it, like you can start off today. You know what? I'm thankful for being alive today because I'm still going. I can do something different. I can make a change. I can because you're alive. That's something to have as a blessing. If you have children, sit there and watch your children play. That's a blessing. To have a job, to be able to provide for your family. Man, that is a blessing. Even in defeat, if you lose, you get fired. There's a blessing that you can count in there. Okay, why did I get fired? How can this not happen again? What can I do? Like there are wisdom and nuggets of great importance for you to as my good friend Mo Aiken says, to glean from defeat and failure. Use your failures to set you up for success, not to wallow in it and to dwell in it and to think about and worry about everything that's going wrong. I mean, there are 1,001 things to be worried about and stressed out about. It is better, far better to live with a spirit and an attitude of gratefulness and thanksgiving than it is to be miserable and moan, wax, wane, and complain, because it will blind you. I've been there. So I would ask of you, if you hear anything else from me, it's like in this new beginning, in these phases where you're feeling like you're not getting anywhere, just hold on to hope and be thankful and just hold on and press in and grind. But always try to operate in the spirit of gratefulness and be thankful for what you have, because there's always someone worse off than you. Thank you.